Welcome to yet another episode of Out of the Weeds. In this episode, I'm going to be teaching you how to build a black pipe steampunk lamp. This one here was one that I actually made as a gift to my wife here just a few months ago. And so I'm going to be building an all new one exclusively for this video, showing you guys step by step how to make it. And one of the cool features with this lamp is that it's actually going to have a valve that's actually used as its switch. So you can see here, turn this, turns it on. And so I think it's a really cool look. They're really popular right now, and they're really easy to make. And today I'm going to show you how. Let's get out of the weeds. Okay, so the first thing you want to do once you have your wood piece, I'd actually cut mine out, but I made like an 8x10. You want somewhere around like an 8x10 piece of wood. And then for me, I want to stain mine. And so I'm actually going to be using a gel stain. And so you can see here it's dark walnut, because I like kind of a darker wood. So the first thing you want to do before you do anything is stain your piece of wood so that way it has time to dry. So then once you're done with this, you can work on everything else, and then your wood will be ready. And so there you go. I have just my first coat of stain. That's why I wanted to do it ahead of time, because the stain's going to need time to dry. And then you can determine, depending on which color you want, to determine if you want to do more coats. I'm probably just going to do one coat on this. And I really like using the gel stain. I just like getting these little sponges here at the end, and it goes on real easy. Just remember, anything with stain, little goes a long way. It's really easy to over apply it, and then it'll take a long time to dry. Okay, so the stain has had time to dry since yesterday. So next thing we need to do before we get to anything of building the actual lamp is we need to drill a hole in the middle for the cord to be able to come up through. And then you can also see here that this is all flat. So I have my lamp cord here that's going to actually plug into the wall. And so what will happen is if I sit this on a desk, that it'll be sitting on top of the cord, and so it'll be wobbly and won't stay. So what I actually need to do is, after I drill a hole for the cord to go through, I'm actually going to take chisels and chisel out just a line just deep enough and wide enough for this cord to sit flush within a kind of a little pathway. And then that way, whenever this is sitting on a desk or somewhere, that way it sits flat. I'm just going to be taking a 1/4-inch chisel here, and I'm just going to be chiseling out a pathway. You can see I got my hole right in the center, and so that's all I want to do is just chisel out a little pathway so that the cord will go on. So you don't want to go too deep, you just want to go deep enough that the cord will be able to fit in a nice groove. So I'll get started. So now if you look there, you can see the cord fits real flush down inside that little groove. The next thing we want to do is make our light switch using this gate valve. So what you want to do is, this is a 3/4 inch gate valve. There's a couple different valves. You'll know it's a gate valve by when you turn it, there's just kind of this little gate that goes up and down when you turn it. The other type of valve that they make out there, you can't see through it. So no matter how you screw it, you can't see through it. So when you look out there, you know you'll have the right valve if you can see through it. And so what we need is, we actually just need the top part of this. Just this part right here. It doesn't screw off from here. This screws off separately from this, but we need this part down here. But they always put like a sealant or so around here, and so it can be pretty difficult to get off. The easiest way I've found is to actually heat it up using my torch that I actually kill weeds with. I heat this up, and then it usually twists right off. So there we go. So you don't need this part. You can get rid of that. We just need this. And you'll see it has this little where the gate is, that just screws right off. So, right here is the part that we need. And so this should be what it looks like once you're fully done with it. So you have this piece, and so what you're going to take is a 1-inch T and a 1-inch by 3/4 hex. And so what's going to end up happening is you're going to screw this hex in here. This will kind of screw in here, and I'll actually use some JB Weld to actually weld that in there tight. So the valve will go in there, and then your switch will actually go inside here. And so to connect the two pieces, so if I take this back apart, to connect the two pieces, that's why we have this clear plastic tubing. And so the size for this one is 1/4 inner diameter and 3/8 OD, outer diameter. And so it's pretty small tubing, and what it'll do is the tubing will fit over the threads here and then over the switch here. And so whenever you turn this valve, it'll then in turn spin this switch. So what you want to do is make sure you put the switch in here to allow one wire sticking out each end, because that's how it's going to actually get wired here in a little bit. So put the switch in there, and what you want to do is get the switch sitting upright inside of the pipe. There you can see I got the switch in the pipe, and you can see it right there. And so now what I'm going to do is get the plastic tubing, put on this, and then push it down onto that, and then I should have my switch. There I have the tubing there. And so what I want to do is, as I'm pushing this down, I want to make sure that I am pushing it, the tubing, down into, so there you go. And so then we'll tighten this here, and then there you go. Here, we got ourselves a switch. And now what I'm going to do, just to make sure this doesn't come undone, is I'm going to take some JB Weld and just weld a little bit of the threads here, so that way I don't have any risk of this coming undone. Once we have our base ready to go, we have the bottom groove for the cord already. We need to get the base of the lamp. So this is just a 3/4 inch flange that I'm just going to screw into the top here. So once you have your base all put together, you've given it the stain time to dry, and then once you have your switch all ready to go, you want to make sure that you do a dry run before you're actually running your wire. Put the lamp together to make sure all the pieces that you have go together and that it looks right. You don't want to get to the point where you're trying to run the wire and putting the lamp together just to find out that you're missing a piece that you don't have and you need to go to the hardware store. So do a dry run, put the lamp all together without any wire to see and make sure that all the pieces you have are there and in the proper order. I've already done that, so now I'm going to get to putting this thing together and then running the wire. A couple things that I'm going to need though. I got some butt splices here, and I'll just use the crimps and crimp it together to make the wire connections. At the end I have my socket here to finish off the lamp at the end, and then I have my cord for the plug, and then what I'm running through the pipe is going to be lamp wire. Now, it's time for the moment of truth. And they said, let there be light.
What's coming out?
Yeah! Okay, and there we have our steam pipe lamp with a valve switch. Looking good.